Welcome to Mommispace, the podcast for moms of all stages. My name is Kaye, and this podcast was created to give moms a voice to share their experiences and to share that there is not just one way to be a mom. This is a place where you can learn to love the woman inside the mother. Hello, welcome to Mommispace. I'm Kaye, and I'm today joined by Hannah Decker. The series we are currently in is called Babies versus Daddies. I'm a pretty new mom, so I'm getting to venture through balancing marriage and mom life. And I know this is a balancing act for all of us, so I wanted to hear from other moms too. So Hannah, thank you for being a part of this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so first things first, what's your deal? I guess, what's your background? What are you doing in life right now? What are you excited about?
Yeah. So right now I am a mom of an almost 2-year-old Henry. He'll be 2 on April 4th, and that just makes me so sad.
So old.
As flown. Hi. I'm a wife. My husband Brent and I have been married for 4 years. And currently I work part-time. So part-time I work at our church that we attend, Heartland Church in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. So I'm the early childhood coordinator there. And then the other half I'm at home with Henry. And so Brent and I kind of split it apart because he also works at the church. He's the worship director, programming director. He does a lot of things. So we kind of tag team our work and life balance together. I also am currently running a little Etsy shop. I make earrings for the fun of it. Started off as just like a little hobby, and now it's kind of just a mini business, and it's been a lot of fun. Great to use my creative outlet. Getting to do that. So that's pretty much what's going down with me.
Well, okay, first things first. When I talked to my husband about, that one person, and then I have to explain the Instagram that I showed him or whatever, how he knows them. And I'm like, the guy that is really good at singing and works at a church in Madison. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm like his wife. So that's who you are to my husband. So we're talking about mommies versus daddies. Everyone, I don't know. Okay, we were watching this movie recently, and it was totally painting the picture of being married and having kids as your life is over and it sucks, and why would anybody want to do that? You're just going to get a divorce. It's terrible. And I feel I'm a young mom. I'm 23. I had to think about how old I am. I'm 23. All of my friends are just graduating college, basically still kind of in the party mode, and I'm over here with a baby and a house and a husband. And so there's not a lot of people around me who are doing this kind of life. So I thought I've just really loved talking to moms and being like, how does this work? And most of them are 20 years older than me. So I'm really glad you're not.
No.
So I wanted to start by asking, what did your transition from being just wife and husband to now you're the mom and the wife, how did that feel to you? And do you feel like it went smoothly, or it was a total mess?
I mean, just becoming a mom in general is a total mind blown. What are we doing? I can't believe we just brought life into this world. And so, I mean, we were not married super long after we had a kid. I mean, we've been married for 4 years. Henry's getting ready to turn 2. So it was kind of a quicker thing as well. And we're younger parents also. I'm 25 and Brent's 28. And so we really just rolled with the punches. I mean, I have always been the older person in my life. So in my family, I'm the oldest cousin, the oldest sibling. I've always been a nanny or something like that, or I've always worked with kids and at church and doing all of those things. And so being with kids and babies and all of those things came pretty naturally to me. And so I really wasn't super fearful or worried about the transition from wife to mom. I also feel like we were still like getting our grounding with becoming husband and wife, and then we just went on ahead and threw in parents
Yeah.
with it. And so we're like, okay, we're doing it. And I think that we just, yeah, we honestly, we're so flexible. I am I'm a 9 on the Enneagram, and so I'm really go with the flow,
Mhm.
really chill about everything. And so I was pretty much just like, yeah, let's do it. And it definitely has its ups and downs, just like anything
Mhm.
else does in life. But the transition from wife to mom and trying to do both of those combined, yeah, I mean, it was challenging yet easy yet not. It depended on the day. um, but we just like knew ahead of time, like, this is going to be a lot. We have a lot of older friends in our lives, and they just really poured into us and really helped set us up for success. And you're sleep deprived, you say rude things to one another sometimes because you're like, I've slept
I
for
don't
two
know.
hours.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done that.
Never said anything mean to my husband at all. So it's like, it's like anything else in life. You just kind of, you do what you can with it, and you learn and you grow. And yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I feel my husband and I were also not married for super long. We were trying right away. We actually, all of our friends said they were going to wait till their 2-year anniversary to start trying. And so we were like, yeah, we're going to do that too. And then it was like 2 months and we're like, so want a baby?
Why not?
And it did take us longer than anticipated to get pregnant, but I found out I was pregnant like 2 weeks before our first year anniversary, and I'm sure people thought I was nuts. I think I'm nuts, so they might not be wrong. But I guess my question for you is, did you ahead of time, what was your interpretation of how having a baby was going to affect your marriage? Did you have any like strong feelings like, oh, we have to be careful, or what if something bad happens, or I don't know, do with that what you will?
I mean, not really. Brent, he says sometimes to me, like, I'm just like way too casual about things sometimes. Like, why aren't you more worried? Why aren't you like more XYZ, blah blah blah. We balance each other out really nicely. He can be very black and white sometimes, and I bring the color color into the
Yeah.
relationship. Um so I mean, I wasn't super fearful. I Pinterest everything. I was looking up, doing all the research, trying to be as prepared as I possibly could about motherhood. I was like, okay, what's the best bassinet to have? What's the best swaddles? What's all of those kinds of things. Just making sure I had the best of everything that I needed for Henry. And probably in that way, I was probably more like, oh my goodness, and everything like that. But I mean, yeah.
Do you feel like you have done, whether or not it includes a baby, what are some things you and Brent do intentionally in your marriage to make sure your marriage lasts?
We take time by ourselves to do things.
That's
um,
a good piece of advice.
I mean, we do a lot of things in life together. So we both work at the church together. We live together. A lot of things in our life coexist, and it's wonderful. And honestly, I think really some really great things that we've honestly done for each other is like finding things that make us happy as individuals. So whether that was me starting my earring hobby and making earrings and starting that little business, or Brent, he started doing CrossFit and he really enjoys like doing that. And I enjoy going to the gym as well. And so really making sure that we are just happy with ourselves. So I'm doing things that are like oh, this fills my cup, this makes me like really happy, and then Brent's cup is filled up as well, just with things that he enjoys and brings him life, then whenever we're able to be together, we're the best individuals that we can be for one another. We like to go shopping together, and we just like we like to putz around at places. Really, I'm like, you want to go walk around Target or something? And I mean, we just like walk around Target, or we go walk around at the mall, or doing other things like that. Do we always spend money? No, but we just like, that's something that we like to do together. But honestly, doing things just for ourselves has helped our marriage a lot, because yeah, we're just, when you feel good about yourself and the things that you're doing, you're able to do that better as when you come together and as a couple. So really, that's what's been great for us. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. I think it's so important to have um time to like be together, genuinely be together and just be friends and not have it be a date all the time, but
yeah.
just we're spending time together, but also like totally having hobbies for yourself. My husband always says it's a deal breaker if a girl doesn't have a hobby. So
Hmm.
then you're just boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have known each other since I was in the 8th grade. So we have
Oh,
known each other
that's cute.
for a very long time, and we were best friends. We were friends all throughout high school, really great friends, me, him, and my friend Allison. We were all the best of friends. And so it wasn't, I mean, until graduating high school and then out of like college and everything, we kind of came together and started dating and doing all of the things. And so taking moments back from when we were just like really great friends, and then times whenever, husband and wife, just like combining all of the things, that just make us happy together.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's literally just sitting on our couch and watching Netflix shows together and binge
Yeah.
watching TV, and like just being in each other's presence. And we don't even have to be saying anything at all, but yeah, it's the time that we need together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah, it's like so cliche to say that you have to be like friends with your spouse because everyone says that as the number one tip, but I really think that's true. Like it all
Yeah.
comes from that friendship essentially. I have another question for you. Do you and or Brent did you have any like ideas of what a mom should look like or dad should look like coming into your marriage and into your parenthood that were conflicting, or maybe just something you agreed on like big time, like this is what it has to look like?
Yeah, I mean, we we shared pretty similarly that we wanted to do this thing like fully together, not the whole like, oh, the wife is supposed to be cooking in the kitchen and I'm gonna go to work for the day, honey. And we just
Hmm.
were like, no, that's not us. We're in this 50-50 together. And so when I would be doing my research for things, when I was pregnant with Henry, he would be doing that right alongside with me. Before I got pregnant, I was always the type of person, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, when I have a baby, give me all the drugs. I would like somebody to just honestly pass me out. Like I want to be knocked out and somebody just take the baby out of my body and wake me up when it's over. I like
Yeah.
don't coherent or anything for any of it.
Hmm.
It wasn't until I got pregnant, I'm like, yeah, maybe I still want to do. Nobody can knock you out, but I'm like, yeah, maybe somebody we can do that. And I mean, Brent, he was like, hey, have you like looked into all of these different things when it comes to like C-sections or like epidurals and all of these different things? And so
Hmm.
he was like right alongside with me, like coming up with a birth plan and doing
That's
all of these
awesome.
different things. And so we just knew ahead of time that we wanted to be in it together. When I am awake with Henry in the middle of the night, like he's going to be awake too, and he's going to be like supporting and helping in that. And so honestly, we didn't really have any conflicting like, okay, I'm going to do this and like you're going to do that, and then it's like, no, I don't agree. We really, I feel like we don't always agree, but when it comes to Henry, and just our parenting of him, there are things that we go back and forth with, but whenever, we were talking about getting ready to have him and just becoming parents in general, we were pretty much both on the same page when it came to that. So
Yeah, that's awesome that you guys wanted to take part equally. Interestingly, we wanted to do that. I was like, we can both be up and like we can do this modern thing. And I found that when I was dealing with a baby in the middle of the night, I didn't want to also deal with my husband. So I'm like, how about you just sleep and I'll do it? Because I just like I didn't know this existed, but if you're woken up in the middle of the night unexpectedly, there's this odd rage that comes sometimes. I don't know if you've ever experienced it.
Yes.
And there's not as much grace for my husband as there is for my baby.
Oh yeah. Those fights that I was talking about where you said things you don't mean, those were happening usually at 2 a.m. when
Yeah.
we're both awake, and I'm like, why are you here right now?
Exactly. So I was like, how about you just sleep? And I just got it. It's good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So where in your marriage do you guys feel like you've struggled the most adapting to having a baby? And that can be a current struggle or something you've overcome or whatever.
I think a struggle that we probably have, sometimes it can be our parenting styles. I grew up with two younger siblings, and my parents got divorced when they were in the 8th grade, and so it was kind of just like my mom, me. So I was the older one. I'm 6 years older than my brother and sister, and we kind of all just we were really flexible. I kind of parented with my mom a lot, and so we were really just kind of do whatever it takes to make everyone happy, kind of thing. And Brent, he grew up, he's one of 6 siblings, and he's the second to youngest, and they grew up really structured and strict, and like we have to do XYZ and everything like that. And so I think honestly, your upbringing comes out a lot
Oh yeah.
in the way that you parent. And so for a slew of examples I'll save for another day. It comes out in the way that we parent sometimes. So whether it comes to, oh, I want to buy Henry all of these toys, I want to get him this, and I want to get him that, and I want to get him this, and I want to get him that, and I
Yeah.
just like all of the things, because I feel like whenever my parents split up, and my mom, her love language is gifts, and she just wanted, I think, to show us her love, she just wanted to buy us things and get us things. And so I feel like that comes out sometimes in the way that I parent, and Brent feels so opposite. He's like, he already has one version of that, so why do we need another thing? And so I'm like, I don't know, why would we not? And so that's just a small example, but I feel like some of the things, just the way that we were brought up, and then now bringing it out into our parenting styles, that conflicts sometimes, and we definitely have to have our fair share of sit down conversations and how we can compromise and meet in the middle of those two things. But that's a huge obstacle and thing that we deal with.
No, I feel like we're still fresh in the middle of it, and so I'm just like, I'm a jacked up person. That's what I learned out of all of this. So far so good. So my next question for you is, where do you feel like you've personally grown the most as a mom? Like as a woman, where have you grown the most through motherhood?
Yeah, I mean, I have honestly just learned to be super independent. I mean, like, obviously doing things with my husband, but growing up and just in life, I could have always tended to be like a follower. I'm gonna just do what everyone else like wants to do. I'm a people pleaser. This is who I am as a 9. This is just me.
Yeah, I was gonna say your 9 is showing.
It's so it's, oh my gosh, it's constant. But really, like, as a mom, I've learned to just like form my own opinions, and I've learned to like stand up for what I believe in, not only for myself, but for like my family, for my kid. And I think I've definitely become a lot stronger. Like, I'm not going to take anybody's like crap. I'm not going to take anybody's like
Mhm.
whatever you have to say. I think that just becomes like a thing after you have a kid, anyways. Like that
I
mom,
agree.
you're like, oh my gosh, like it's
I so agree because actually, I remember the first time that, oh gosh, maybe Gideon was like 2 weeks old, and somebody made a comment that was kind of like a, you know, a way to just let you know they don't agree with the way you're doing something, but just like smiling through it.
yep, yep.
And I remember being like, I'm never letting someone talk to me like that again.
Yes, you just like from the very first comment somebody says where you just smile and nod your head and then inside you're like, what the heck?
You're like, I'm weak.
No, but after that you're like, no more, no more. I mean, there are definitely my times where I just need to bite my tongue, but I've
Yeah.
definitely learned to stand my ground a lot more. And
Hmm.
Brent, he's an 8, and so
Oh, okay.
we're very opposite spectrums. And so I've not only learned it like for myself, he like pours into me a lot through that as well, just being the challenger that he is. And so with him, and then just with becoming a mom and all of those things, I'm like, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Balance.
Especially when you have that baby to defend, where you kind of have like a cause and you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Because you see that little baby that you're like, are you really going to say that to my kid or in front of my kid or make him feel that way or whatever?
No, and I've like had to learn. I'm like, okay, I need to research things because now Henry's at an age where I actually have to parent him. I need, first year you're kind of just like keep him alive, teach him how to say things. It's just
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, I need to tell you no, and you need to learn what no means. And I have
Hmm.
timeouts now, and so I just am like having to learn all of these things, and I feel that I never took the initiative for myself to do a lot, and now
Hmm.
since becoming a mom, it's put like a whole new fire underneath me, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this not only for myself but like for you, because when I am a better me, like I'm gonna be best wife and mom. And so yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way. No, that really like lit mama bear in me. Um, do you feel like you have had a mess up in your motherhood that you've learned from, or a mess up in the way that you prioritize baby and husband?
I mean, I feel like I mess up a lot. I mess up on the daily, and that's just life. Um, yeah, I think especially going back to I have to learn how to parent Henry now. I've definitely had my fair share of where I haven't been so happy with the way that I've reacted and responded to
Hmm.
something that Henry has done. Um, and you would think I would be so like chill and gracious about it, just being who I am. But something about when it comes to his stuff, or if something has gone on and I can stuff it all, but if I can just, you failed as a mother, or that like Henry's not going to be the best version of himself, because I felt like I tried all of the things. And it was like Brent came to me one day and he's like, you don't have to do this. But I'm like, I feel like I do though.
Hmm.
You feel like that's your one of your main things as a mom. It's like I should be able to feed my baby. And I think after he like Brent sat me down and was like talking to me about it, and he's like, you're still an amazing mother, and you're still like doing great things, and feeding Henry formula is not going to be the end of the world, because you know what, fed is best, and he is going to be
Hmm.
fed. And after I finally just let it go and released that from myself, I felt like a weight was lifted off of
Hmm.
my shoulders. But I was literally like, I had this such high expectation, and I'm like, this will happen and this is going to be the thing. And it just did not. But
Yeah.
once I was done with it, everything just got so much better. Brent was able to get up in the middle of the night with me, and
Mm-hmm.
we would take turns, and so I would sleep and he would feed, and we would go back and forth, and so everything seemed to happen the way that it was meant to for us, and
Yeah.
that's just how it always works out for everyone, you know, like it always works out how it's meant to for your family. And so I think, yeah, that comparison game, like you said, you see a
Yeah.
picture of a flower field, like the comparison game is so real and so hard
Yeah.
once you realize I'm not like everybody else, and we are all like, we're all worthy of our own stories and how.
Yeah, that's so good. I am quite a hippie in general, just what I lean towards. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna breastfeed, but I spent way more time researching other things than
Mm,
that. I just kind of thought like, well, you just do it. And I heard like some people's um some people's like tips and tricks. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Oh my gosh, my number one piece of advice to pregnant people is like, your hospital probably has a lactation consultant. Talk to them before your baby's born. I
yes.
had no idea this. It sounds so stupid now being someone who breastfeeds. I had no idea they had to make contact with your breast a ton in the first week to be able to like